A woman doesn't need to yell to destroy you. All it takes is a gentle word said at the right time to make you doubt your intuition, to make you think you're crazy, that you're overreacting, that the problem is you. Most men aren't betrayed by a woman's body, but by her tongue. Because before she gives herself to someone else, she hides behind sweet, almost spiritual phrases that are actually coded messages of infidelity. And if you don't know how to read those phrases, you'll keep falling into the same trap, justifying the unjustifiable, hoping for loyalty where desire is already elsewhere. Today, I'm going to show you the 7 most dangerous words a woman uses to lie to you without you even noticing. And the last one has destroyed more men than any scream ever could. I'm Celia, and I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to open your eyes. So if you've ever felt like something was off, stay until the end, because after this video, you'll either wake up or they'll keep using you. In that relationship, did she tell you she didn't know why she did it? That it was just an impulse, a mistake, something that got out of hand? And you, instead of looking her in the eye with the coldness she deserved, lowered your head. You doubted yourself. You thought maybe she was telling the truth. That maybe she had lost control. But if you're here today, it's because something inside you didn't fully believe her. Because you know, even if you're not ready to admit it yet, that when a woman says, "I don't know why I did it," she's not confessing, she's covering her tracks. This is the first point in the video, and what I'm about to tell you won't be found in any self-help books or motivational speeches. Because this isn't about healing, it's about seeing, about understanding that a woman doesn't lose control when she cheats. She calculates it, measures it, rehearses it in her mind long before it happens. Because female infidelity isn't a stumble, it's a disguised decision. And that phrase, "I don't know why I did it," doesn't come from guilt. It comes from strategy, because if she can make you believe it was just an impulse, then there's no one to blame. And if there's no one to blame, she gets to stay. I've seen hundreds of men hear that phrase and stay, as if the lack of explanation were an excuse, as if her emotional chaos justified the stab in the back, as if the pain weren't real just because it didn't make sense. And that's the problem. You're still expecting logic from a woman who already crossed an invisible line, who already gave herself to someone else, with her body, her mind, or her desire, and now needs you to keep being the emotional support of someone she no longer loves. I'm telling you this bluntly, because if you don't hear it this way, you're going to repeat the pattern. When a woman says, "I don't know why I did it," what she really means is, "I didn't think you'd find out." And if you let it slide, if you accept that phrase as truth, she stays. Not because she loves you, but because she already knows she can deceive you without consequences. Because she already sees you're more interested in forgiving than in respecting yourself. This isn't anger, it's clarity. It's seeing that every word has weight, that every phrase is a move in a game. And if you don't learn to read that hidden code, you'll keep sleeping next to a woman who betrays you with excuses, while you keep justifying her with love. But this isn't love, this is a lack of courage. And if you don't wake up now, you'll end up being that man who still protects her, while someone else is touching her. When a woman tells you, "I don't know why I did it," she's emotionally prepping you to accept everything that comes next. It's the first step toward your numbness. But it doesn't stop there. Because if you manage to get past that stage without breaking, she raises the stakes. And she does it with something even more manipulative, downplaying what happened. She sugarcoats it, turns it into a meaningless anecdote. And you, if you're not grounded, you accept it. Because the second key point of this video is this: it didn't mean anything to me. Few phrases are more loaded with lies than that one, because if it truly meant nothing, there'd be no need to explain it, no need to say it, no need to repeat it. The need to justify an action with that phrase is, in itself, proof that it did mean something, because when something has no weight, you leave it behind in silence. But when it hurts, when it compromises, when it leaves marks, then it gets disguised, edited, downplayed, not to ease your pain, but to leave you with no arguments. Because if it didn't mean anything, then why does it hurt? That's the trap. In deep psychology, this is called functional denial, a strategy meant to reshape emotional reality without changing the act that caused it. And from a stoic philosophical view, it's one of the subtlest forms of injustice, distorting the truth to keep the benefits. Because if it meant nothing, why didn't she tell you sooner? Why did she hide it? Why did she feel guilty? Because she knows you still believe in the value of connection, in the power of a look, in the exclusivity of desire. And that's her weakness, because she no longer shares it with you, but she knows you still hold on to it. This isn't about bodies, it's about energy, about symbolic loyalty, about that invisible line that separates a woman who still respects you from one who merely tolerates you while getting turned on by someone else. Because when she says, "It didn't mean anything," she's claiming the right to betray you without facing the consequences. She's asking you to be emotionally passive, not to question, not to dig deeper. Because if you don't react, she gets to keep living her double life without losing your support, your presence, or your backing. But you weren't born to be anyone's emotional crutch, least of all for a woman who denies the value you once gave her. Because accepting that phrase, "It didn't mean anything to me," is admitting that you don't mean that much either, that she can cross any line as long as she says the right words afterward. And for a man of value, that's not love, that's humiliation. So don't forget, when a woman has to insist that something didn't mean anything, it's because it already meant everything, because what she's trying to erase with words, she's already written with her body. And if you don't see it, if you forgive it, you're signing an emotional contract where she gets to lie, and you have to believe, where she can fail, and you have to hold it together. And that, my dear, isn't a life. It's servitude dressed up as understanding. After a woman downplays the betrayal with phrases like, "It didn't mean anything to me," the next step is even more insidious. Because now it's no longer about what happened, it's about who caused it. And guess who she's going to point the finger at? You. Because we've reached the third point of this video, and this is where things start to shift. We're just friends. That friend she talks about in a calm, almost innocent tone, he's not someone new. He's someone who was already there, someone you felt, someone you noticed. But every time you asked, she defended herself with that phrase. She didn't say it to reassure you, she said it to disarm you, because she knew that if you kept pressing, you'd come off as jealous, as insecure, as controlling. And so, out of fear of losing her, you let your guard down. You gave in, you stopped asking questions. And right then, that friend became the receiver of everything you no longer saw, her most genuine laugh, her most hidden desire, her most focused attention. In practical psychology, this move has a name: deactivation of male intuition. It's a subtle but effective mechanism where she uses a socially accepted label, friendship, to cover up an attraction that has already crossed the emotional line, even if it hasn't turned physical yet, because the emotional always comes first. And when a woman starts getting emotionally involved with another man, she doesn't need to sleep with him to have already left you. She's already gone. You just still believe she's close because she keeps saying, "He's just a friend." This is where you need to act, not out of reaction, but out of clarity. The strategy is simple. Don't confront the phrase. Watch the behavior. A friend doesn't need midnight messages. He doesn't provoke shy smiles when she says his name. He doesn't trigger mood swings when you're around. He doesn't pop up in every conversation like he's part of the relationship. And if you see all that, don't ignore it. Don't debate it. Don't try to explain it. Just set boundaries. With one simple phrase, if you need to justify that friendship so much, it's because it's no longer just a friendship. Then pull back emotionally, not to punish her, to see what she does. Because a woman who truly has nothing to hide doesn't need to defend herself. The man who transforms isn't the one who yells, it's the one who observes, the one who connects the dots without being dragged down by guilt. And when you do that, you stop being the man who begs for answers and become the man who commands respect by simply being present. Because this isn't about controlling the woman, it's about controlling your energy, your center, your direction. And if she wants to be in your life, she needs to understand you're not available to play the friend, while someone else takes the place that belongs to you. Before we go on, I want to ask you a favor. Subscribe if this is helping you see things differently. Hit like if you've ever felt that supposed friend was more than just that. And comment where you're watching from. Just write, "I'm not buying her lies," because what's coming in the next chapters is even more revealing. And the final phrase is the one that's destroyed more men than any other, even when they thought they were still the chosen one. After she keeps telling you, "We're just friends," after you try to believe it, after you suppress your intuition to maintain an artificial calm, another phrase shows up, one that's more aggressive, more direct, more dangerous, because it's no longer about justifying the lie, it's about shifting the blame onto you. And if you're not emotionally prepared, you'll fall for it. Because here, we've reached the fourth point of this video. You would have done the same. This is the lowest move of all. It's not meant to explain. It's not meant to repair. It's only meant to drag you down, to make you an accomplice in a betrayal you didn't commit. Why? So you won't react. So you freeze. So you stay stuck in that emotional limbo where you don't know whether to be angry or to apologize for something you didn't even do. And that's how many men get lost. By accepting that maybe they would have done it too. By thinking that everyone messes up at some point. And in that moment, without realizing it, you stop being the victim and become the emotional culprit. The mistake that most mature men make at this point isn't trusting her. It's doubting themselves, losing clarity, getting pulled into the narrative she builds to level the field. When in reality, all she's trying to do is escape the weight of her own choice. Because if she can make you feel just as dirty, then she gets to walk away clean. If she can get you to say, "You're right, I probably would have done the same," then there's no betrayal, just some made-up emotional symmetry, false, but enough to make you let your guard down. This is where you need to stop, breathe, and see, because this phrase, "you would have done the same," doesn't come from remorse. It comes from fear. Fear of losing your protection, your forgiveness, your presence. And that's why she attacks. Because she knows that if she can break your sense of justice, you won't have the strength to set boundaries. And right there, she's already won. Because a man without boundaries is a man who will adapt to any form of emotional abuse just to avoid being alone. Stoicism teaches that there's no greater strength than seeing the truth, even when it hurts. And here, the truth is brutal. You didn't do it. And even if you were capable of it, you didn't. There is no act more cowardly than justifying a real betrayal with a hypothetical, with a, "you would have done the same." Because what matters isn't the possibility, it's the fact. And the facts are clear. She crossed a line. You didn't. Accepting this phrase means resigning yourself to a guilty masculinity, to living with the constant feeling that you're always at fault, that if a woman betrays you, it's because you failed first, that if she gives herself to someone else, it's because you weren't enough, and that's what's destroying the modern man, not the betrayal, but the narrative that convinces him he deserved it. So burn this into your mind. The next time a woman tells you, "You would have done the same," don't answer with anger or explanations. Just look at her and say nothing. Because silence, when it's firm, weighs more than any argument. And in that silence, she'll feel something she didn't expect, the reflection of her own lie. And you, for the first time, will feel something you had lost, respect for yourself. We've reached the fifth point of this video, and it's one of the most deceptive phrases a woman can say after crossing the line. It wasn't planned. That phrase sounds innocent, clumsy, human, but it's a dangerous trap because what it hides isn't weakness, it's calculation. When a woman wants to protect her image while already giving herself to someone else, she needs to make it look spontaneous, like she didn't think about it, like it just happened. But you and I both know, in a woman's psychology, nothing just happens. A woman doesn't sleep with another man by mistake. She fantasizes about it first. She allows it first. She picks the right outfit, replies to messages at just the right time, pays attention to the details, deletes the traces. The woman who says it wasn't planned has been planning it since she stopped paying attention to you, since she stopped looking at you, since she started talking about being tired, stressed, disconnected. Her body came later, but her desire left long ago. And when you accept that phrase as truth, you're emptying yourself from the inside, because without realizing it, you're telling the world and yourself that it doesn't matter what she does, as long as she says it with a sorry face. You're giving up your logic, your power, your direction for a narrative built to justify the unjustifiable. Because if it wasn't planned, then you can't be mad. Because if it was accidental, then you're supposed to understand. And slowly you become something you never thought you'd be. A man who stays, even after he's been betrayed. The result of that mindset is devastating, because once you cross that line, there are no clear boundaries. You no longer know what's real and what's manipulation. You don't know if she's truly sorry or just buying time. And worst of all, you no longer know who you are. You become a man who doubts his own anger, his pain, his right to walk away from what hurts, because you keep waiting for a truth that will never come. Because it's already in front of you, but you've been taught to dress it up as compassion. The only real way out of this maze isn't forgiveness, it's clarity. And that clarity only comes when you dare to see the intent behind the act. Not what she said, not how she cried, not how she shook when you found out, but what she chose, what she did, what she allowed. Because if you keep justifying destructive behavior with emotional confusion, you're signing your emotional death sentence. You'll lose her respect and yours. And when a man loses himself, no love can save him. This is where you need to adopt a new mindset. Firm, solid, stoic, not based on how she feels, but on what you're worth. Because a man who respects himself doesn't need evidence to walk away. He only needs one truth. And that truth is already on the table. It wasn't an accident, it was a choice. And if you don't make a choice now, you'll become the man who keeps forgiving the unforgivable, who keeps holding on to what's already broken, who keeps investing in someone who already chose someone else, while you're still the one paying the price. If you've already understood that it wasn't an accident, then you also need to understand that it wasn't confusion, because that's the next disguise she'll use. When she can no longer claim it just happened, she'll say she wasn't sure how she felt, that she was lost, in crisis. And if you're not fully awake, that word will almost sound tender, human, justifiable. But it's not, because we've reached the 6th point of this video. I'm confused. That phrase isn't meant to open a conversation, it's meant to freeze it. It's an emotional stop sign, a block, a pause with intention. She says it not to answer you, not to decide, not to take responsibility. Because when a woman says she's confused, what she's really doing is avoiding you. She's buying time to sort out her feelings for someone else, without losing you as a backup. She's dodging judgment while keeping the prize. Because if you accept her confusion, you become the patient, understanding, available man, while someone else is keeping her up at night. Picture this. It's late. You're at home, stomach in knots, no appetite, no sleep. Waiting for her to say something, to explain, to hold you. And she, from the other end of the couch, looks at you with blank eyes and says, "I'm confused." That's it. No details, no tears, no accountability. And you swallow the phrase. You take it whole because you still believe that understanding her is saving her. But it's not. The only thing you're saving is her comfort. Because you're still there, still present while she decides whether to leave you, use you, choose you again, or if it's already too late. And you are still waiting. Do you know what happens when you accept that phrase as valid? You give up your power, you give up yourself, because now she doesn't have to explain anything. She doesn't have to choose. She doesn't have to commit. You're freeing her emotionally to explore, to feel, to try things out, while you hold down the house, the kids, the stability. And the worst part, you do it with pride, because you think being patient is being strong. But it's not. Being patient, when there's no respect, is being complicit in your own destruction. A woman knows exactly what she feels, what she wants, what she needs. A woman doesn't just get confused out of nowhere. She allows herself to doubt only after she's found something that tempts her more than you. But instead of owning it, she hides it. She hides behind the word confusion so she doesn't have to face her desire. So she can keep pretending stability while fantasizing about freedom. And you, if you don't break out of this now, you'll spend months, maybe even years, in that emotional waiting room, asking yourself every day if today's the day she'll finally be clear. But she won't, because she's not confused. She's choosing, but she doesn't want to say it, because if she says it, she loses your support, your money, your presence, your energy. And that's what she really doesn't want to let go of. Not you, what you represent. So don't forget, a confused woman isn't a lost little girl who needs guidance. She's an adult who doesn't want to give anything up. And you weren't made to wait for someone who's unsure about choosing you. Because the man who waits fades. And when a man fades, they don't love him. They tolerate him. They use him. And then they forget him. After she told you she was confused, you waited. You waited days, weeks, even months, hoping that one day she'd wake up and choose you again with the same certainty as before. But that day never came, because she wasn't confused. She was calculating. And when she felt she no longer needed to keep up the lie, when you were weak enough not to react, that's when she dropped the most devastating phrase of all. We've reached the 7th point of this video, and if you don't see it for what it truly is, you'll stay trapped forever. I swear nothing happened. There's no lie more dangerous than the one whispered with soft eyes, a shaky voice, and the full intention of making you betray yourself. Because this phrase isn't meant to convince you. It's meant to break you, to make you doubt your intuition, your memory, what you saw, what you felt. She needs you to question yourself, because if she can get you to call yourself crazy, she no longer has to defend anything. She's already won. And the saddest part is that many men allow it. They accept that oath. They close their eyes, force themselves to believe, to trust, to forgive. Not because they truly believe nothing happened, but because they don't have the courage to face what actually did. Because accepting the truth would mean taking action, leaving, setting boundaries. And for many, that hurts more than continuing to be used. But today, if you're here, it's because you can't keep denying it. Because something inside you screamed louder than that, I swear nothing happened. Because you know, even if she denies it, that something did. Even if you don't have physical evidence, even if you didn't see the messages, even if you never heard a confession, you felt it, you sensed it, you lived it. The body doesn't lie. And if she had to swear it, it's because denial wasn't enough anymore. This is where the sleeping men separate from the men who wake up, because the ones who are still asleep want to believe the words. But the ones who wake up, they don't need proof. Their dignity is enough. And that man, the one who looks in the mirror and says, I know what I saw, I know what I felt, and no one's going to take that from me. That man can't be manipulated anymore. That man won't be comforted by a sweet lie. Because the man who lets himself be comforted by a lie is already lost. He becomes complicit in his own humiliation. He becomes the man who keeps touching a woman who's already given herself to someone else, who keeps building a home where there's no soul left, who keeps serving the bread while someone else is devouring the desire. Today, you have to choose. Are you going to keep asking her to swear? Or are you going to start acting like a man who no longer needs proof because he already has a truth, your truth? And that truth is what marks the beginning of your transformation. She swore nothing happened, but you're not here to believe her anymore. You're here to recover, and no oath will give you back what you lost unless you give it back to yourself first. If you've made it this far, you're not like the rest, because most men break before they ever face the truth. They hide behind excuses, behind misplaced hope, behind sweet phrases that only delay the inevitable. But not you. You listen to every word, every blow, every uncomfortable truth, and that already sets you apart. Because only the one who dares to look at what hurts has the power to transform. Now you're standing at a crossroads. You can go back to justifying her, go back to giving in, Go back to believing phrases you've heard 100 times, or you can look your story in the eye and do something different. Because no one's coming to rescue you. Because no therapy, no advice, no love can restore your self-respect. If you don't give it back to yourself first, this is your battle. And it starts with one phrase, one boundary, one "this ends here." Drop a comment below, "I am wisdom and power." And tell me what country you're watching from, because here your age, your story, or your level of pain doesn't matter. What matters is that there's still time to stop being the confused man and become the clear one, the grounded one, the desired one, the respected one. I'm Celia, psychologist, woman, and the creator of this house of wisdom. I didn't come here to comfort you. I came to tell you what no one else dares to say, because this channel exists so that the mature man can reclaim what he lost, his direction, his desire, his dignity, not with empty speeches, with truth, with clarity, with emotional strength. Subscribe now. Be part of this community of men who are done being used. Share this video with that friend who still wonders why she changed, because maybe this is the truth he hasn't dared to face. And don't go just yet. Choose one of the videos that's about to appear on screen. Each one holds another wound and another revelation, because here the conversation is just getting started, and what's coming next will shake you even more.